Hello and welcome to My Creative Brain. Today I am talking to Mike Williams. Mike is a contemporary dance artist based in Swansea. A former member of Cardiff-based physical theatre company Earthfall and FFIN Dance, he's been exploring his own choreographic work for the past few years. Mike is also a teacher of both dance and yoga. We're going to have a chat about creativity and well-being, and there's going to be a couple of activities for you to join in with. Hello, Mike.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely thrilled to have you here. So we're going to start with, when is like your earliest memory of dancing or sort of being a creative person?
My earliest memory, it's so vivid for me. This was before I started physically dancing, but my first memory of me being aware of dance was watching Michael Flatley on TV. It was part of the Eurovision. I forget what year it was, but I think it was roughly 8 or 9. And it was after one of the Eurovision song contests. And obviously it was him showing off a very small section of Irish tap. And I was just like, totally gobsmacked. I was like, What is this? And then a year later, the Riverdance came out. And I was smitten. I was just like, oh my God, that is what I want to do. I want to be him. I just never had the guts to ask my parents.
Did you used to wear shirts a bit like this?
Probably very Billy Wee with his curly hair. I just never had the guts to ask my parents. And bless them, I love my parents to bits, and they're so supportive of my career. So I don't really know why. It could have been because I was more of a more quiet, sensitive boy growing up. I was never really into football and rugby. I can't stand them, hate them. So I just thought, it's just I didn't feel, I don't know if it's not enough confidence, or so there was something holding me back, asking, I want to have tap or just dance lessons, but more, at that point more specifically tap. And then when I came to about age 10, I decided to do gymnastics instead, because I thought that was a bit more accepted for a boy to do, because there's still a bit more of a creative flair to it that's a bit different, but it's a bit more, there was so much more of a strength element to it, which I thought would be a bit more accepting for boys. And then it was literally flicking through my college prospectuses, doing my GCSEs, noticing that Go Sign in college, now Gower College, did A-level dance and BTEC, performing arts, and I was just like, you can actually study. You can actually study dance properly.
Hang on a minute, why did nobody tell me?
And at the time, I was completely unaware of then your ballet grades with the RAD syllabus or ISTD, ballet, tap, jazz. I was completely unaware of that. But when I saw that you can actually study in a college. So I didn't tell my mum, I just applied for it, along with all of the other subjects which I was going to do, which was more the sort of Spanish and the history vibe. And then I was hooked from day one. Like my very first lesson was in a demountable with a carpeted floor, and we were looking at Laban notation, which is, not many people study it anymore, but it's the written form of dance. Similar to how you obviously you have your musical score. Notation goes up the page, and then there are symbols for like, the left foot, the right foot, the arm, and then you'll have symbols which will determine the dynamic quality of a move. There'll be like, you rest here for say 8 counts, and then we had to make little solos and then notate them. And then my very first technique lessons were contemporary and ballet, and I just like, forget Spanish, forget French, everything else. Obviously having no dance experience whatsoever, so I had to really work hard, but my gymnastics background did help. And I applied for National Youth Dance Wales and County Youth Dance Wales. So they were my first experience of performing on a physical stage. And I still say it now. You can never truly put it into words, but there truly is no other feeling that feels most like yourself when you're on a stage dancing, whether it's with other people, the costume, the set, the stage, whatever it is. But as soon as you're on that stage, dancing in any particular piece, doesn't matter what it is, there's just something about it that you just can't put into words. You just know it's right. And ever since then, it's like, I just want to be an artist, a performing artist.
What was that point when you first started performing on stage? And so by this point now, you're thinking of yourself as a dancer, presumably, like I am a dancer now. How old were you then?
I'd say probably about 18, 19. So maybe like, I think it was like probably when I came to my second year, or maybe, yeah. I think after maybe my first year of university, because then I was going to think, I'm going to do dance and drama. I didn't feel brave enough or even good enough at the time to maybe go to one of the conservatoire schools. And as I did AS level performing arts as well. So I enjoy drama, but I just found it really overwhelming when I was in uni. And then I quickly changed to single honours dance. And I just kind of knew then, right, this is what I want to do. This is who I'm meant to be. And then I think when I did my second year of National Youth Dance Wales, again, and then getting to perform with one of my all-time idols at that time, Wk5, who was a Welsh choreographer, who trained with one of my college teachers. And I was in total awe of this man. I was like, oh my God, he's amazing. And then seeing the dancers that were in his company. And then one of the dancers at the time went to my university. Then I was like, well, if she can do it, I can do it.
Yeah.
And then gradually from then to eventually graduating and then finally getting my first major job when I was 23, because I had a couple of short-term freelance contracts since graduating, but then my first main company job was with a physical theatre company called Earthfall in Cardiff. And I think it was then, I was like, oh, right, I'm that emerging dance artist, and like this is it.
I'm a beautiful butterfly. So it seems like, well, it's probably, I'm thinking of it in terms of music. So when people are musicians, they quite often have like picked it up really young, but it seems like you kind of came to dance later, and there were some of these reasons for it, like you were too shy to ask, or it felt like you needed to do like the more masculine, strong gymnastics. But do you find that, like, because you've obviously found yourself through dance, has it helped you to like overcome these sort of weird things in your
definitely.
life?
It's been a very complicated history. When I was little, I never questioned that the way I was presenting myself was right or wrong, or it was just this was just me as a child. Like I like to play with My Little Pony, but then I also like to play with dinosaurs. It was only when, and obviously because kids typically are very cruel to each other as we're growing up. It was only really when I got to about secondary school I started to question, well, why are people being so mean to me? What's wrong with me not liking football or rugby and me wanting to do dance or gymnastics? But I developed anorexia when I was about age 11. I still can't pinpoint why, other than being diagnosed with an underactive thyroid roughly the same age. So I think, because obviously I should be, well, potentially 10 times the size if my medication wasn't at the right level. And I think they caught it really, really early, thankfully. But I think that was such a huge fear of mine to then become fat. So all the way through my early years of comprehensive school, along with all the various bullying for many reasons, was just quite a dark time. And then finally discovering, that you can do dance. And I just went for it. And then as soon as I got to college, that for me was one of the first instant kicks up the bum. Right, if you want to do this, you have to eat, because I had no energy otherwise. And then for me, that was one of the first initial start of the healing process from my anorexia. And then finally allowing myself to feel what I needed to feel, what maybe I'd suppressed. And then that's been a long, constant ebb and flow cycle as I've been growing up through my 20s. And at the same time, dance, you get the darker side then, because obviously, because you're so focused on your physical body as your craft, you then get hyper aware of, oh my God, why isn't my leg as muscular as it should be? Or my waist needs to be smaller. And obviously women experience this, I'd say, much more than men, outward facingly. So there'd be moments throughout my early professional career where I'd lose lots of weight. I'd have so much self-doubt, and then I'd get better again. And then it's only since really, I'd say, turning 30 plus, where I'm like, okay, this is my body. This is where it's at. And I feel more at home in my body. I understand what my body can do, what it maybe can't do as well anymore, but it can do other things so much better with a much more well-rounded understanding of what my body is able and capable of doing. And I'm now more curious in my exploration of my body rather than judgmental.
That's a good place to be.
Yeah.
Curious, not judgmental.
Yeah.
So how does dance and just movement in general relate to well-being, do you think?
It's just for that self-expression. And like, as I said earlier, it's like I feel my most authentic self when I'm on a stage, or it's just like, I get, like, I'm a very busy body. I get bored very, very easily. and it's funny because I'll complain when I'm super busy, but then I'll complain when I haven't got enough work. Like I love a lazy day, like staying in bed till about 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock is late for me.
I was going to say, so stay in bed till 10 p.m.
Like I love a good lazy day, being chilled, just maybe doing some more breath work, control. But my body craves moving, and I think without tailoring it to your specific, you need to exercise for your health, which is like, of course we do. But I think as a society and as a culture, we've lost the narrative that humans as a species are designed to move. Whether that be in a very stylized way of moving, whether you're a classical dancer or a capoeira artist or a much more rounded contemporary artist exploring different things, the body itself is designed to physically move through space, intermixing with other people. So for me, just having some space, whether it's in my house or in my garden, or if I'm lucky enough to be in a studio with other dancers and other artists or just other people, it's just so freeing, moving your body and then interacting with other people around you. I think we kind of lost that, particularly in society at the moment, which we're so heavily involved with technology, which is great for some things, but at the same time, it holds you. I think it holds a lot of us back, and I see it so much at the moment with young dancers who are so much like this on social media. It's like, and then they develop anxiety or stress or worry that they can't do what so-and-so does on Instagram or Facebook. And it's like, I think we forget that we all have unique individual bodies. We all have a shared history, but then your body is still yours. It's nobody else's. And we need to be allowed to express that in our own way. And then if that takes you to a more traditional pathway of learning a particular technique, which you can then break down, repair, explore, be curious with it, and then you just use that as your skeletal base. Or if it takes you into just a more well-rounded movement pattern, just to keep you moving healthily throughout your life, so that you can lift up your grandkids, you can pick up your shopping. Yeah, I just think movement is key to everything. And like for me, I just being able to move.
It's like, would you say that you'd like to sort of encourage people to enjoy the movement for the sake of it rather than for the way it looks and for the likes? You know what I mean?
It's twofold. Obviously, as a dancer, as a teacher, I might be working towards a specific piece. So if I'm working with a choreographer, they'll have their set ideas. So obviously, whatever we create has those added contextual layers on it, whether it's a narrative or if it's completely abstract. With my own students, obviously building that skeletal structure of their technique so they know what their body needs to do, what it's capable of doing, so it gets strong, mobile, flexible. But then at the same time, particularly in more improv classes or even just having some fun for yourself, don't worry about what you look like, just allow yourself to feel how you're feeling on that day. Maybe it influences your physicalness, your creativity, maybe it doesn't. There's a particular technique called Gaga, which comes from Israel. It was created by a guy called Ohad Narin, and it's it's been quite popular in the UK for the last couple of years, but it's such a nice improvisational technique that we use to warm the body up. It has a basis, or there is a base there of some form, but there's no complete set exercises compared to, say, a typical ballet class where you do your pliés on the bar, then you slowly progress to your grand allegro in the center at the end. So there's a familiar physical language, but then everybody is moving completely differently, never stopping, and you're just responding to what the teacher is saying. And it's just so refreshing just to see, okay, what is my body going to feel like doing today? Just obviously responding to what the stimulus is. But yeah, it's refreshing seeing my students, or even just having a little groove of my own in the kitchen. It's like, how do I want to move? And then allow it. I think we need to allow ourselves the freedom to play.
Yeah, definitely. And it's something that I've come to realize, because I don't know a lot about dance, but I have been trying to learn some dance recently, and just about how much you can convey through it, about your sort of intention, what narrative you're thinking of in your head and everything.
Yeah.
And it's just so expressive. So expressive.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah, and I think it's nice, obviously, from a conceptual level, if I want to particularly choreograph and visualize an idea that I might have, but then at the same time I will just groove in my living room, put a bit of music on, and just let the music influence me, and then see what happens. So it's nice having that option. And obviously, in a way, I'm quite privileged, obviously, because I have that movement language as part of my history as a dancer, because I've experienced many different techniques. So obviously I'm more aware of my body, and I'm more aware of my surroundings. You've
kind of got some riffs that you know to relate it to music, so that I can understand.
But then it's really refreshing seeing people with not as much rich movement history as myself. Somebody who's only being a runner for their life as their only form of physical exercise. It's quite nice then seeing how somebody can become more aware of their body. So the textures of their skin, the shape of the muscles, how their bones might work inside, and how it responds to other people. So for me, I love teaching non-dancers, so that you just get something totally refreshing, which is really, really nice. So
during the pandemic thus far, what's it been like for you kind of creatively?
Oh, it's had its ups and downs. Obviously, of course, as artists, we've all been panicking and worrying, because we're like, oh God, what's going to happen to our industry? Because we still don't know. And there's still the question of what will it be like in the future? Because obviously it's going to be completely different, because I don't think we could ever go back to how it was.
Yeah.
But I try not to worry about it, because that's one thing that yoga has taught me is to try, and I don't always succeed, but to try and let go of what we can't control and just accept what is happening, and then just go with the flow as best we can. The first lockdown, I think I found I was a little bit more creative, and I had a bit more oomph.
Do you think you kind of felt like, oh, we're going to be getting back to performing soon?
Yeah, so... and I think a lot of people were like that.
Yeah.
And my partner was in, and is still in, the shielding category, so he wasn't allowed out at all. And obviously, I lost about £2,000-3,000 worth of work in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
All my yoga work stopped, so I was like, right, what am I going to do? Obviously, I've got to keep money coming in. Thankfully, my partner was able to keep his salary, and he was being able to keep his job, even though he himself works in the arts. But as I said, I get bored so easily. I need to keep my brain active, my body active. So I started teaching online yoga straight away. And then I was still teaching and finishing my PGCE through one of the colleges I was working in. So I was still seeing my students once a week. And then I was still having to finish off a piece for them to choreograph and then turn into a film instead of our original idea. And then that made me think, oh, I'm going to go back to some old research from a piece I've been kind of on the back burner for a while. And then I made that into a kind of a mini film over the summer. And then like one of my friends was doing kind of this little dance chain idea where lots of us would submit video footage that she would then add and cut together. And then we had to learn or add on from the previous person and then send it on. So that was quite
It's all become
the
far
buzz
more
was still there.
video based.
But I think since then it's kind of weaned a little bit and then died down. And I found this current lockdown since before Christmas the hardest so far. It's just like, and obviously January itself is always a difficult month anyway, because it just feels as if it's on and on.
It's the worst month, isn't it?
But yes, I've struggled a little bit.
Have you sort of noticed it a lot more in this? So you're saying like this lockdown this time, are you finding it more of like a mental strain?
Yeah, and I think just like questioning, because I've never been one to try and force creativity. I like to just let it happen as in its own time. So that kind of takes me back to one of my first professional solos that I made. It's like, if like working on your own on a solo is such a daunting, rewarding, kind of quite a deeply personal experience, like being on the studio completely on your own for like 6 hours, 7 hours a day.
Yeah.
And then you make something for about 20 minutes and you think, oh my God, yeah, that was really good. Thinking like an hour, 2 hours have gone by and you're like, oh God, no, it's only been 20 minutes. But then just like, again, trying not to force anything that happens within that time. Just okay, that's done, park it, maybe come back to it. So I've tried not to over force it. And I think as artists, and I think we're all guilty of it, and like lots of my friends have said the same thing, like we're still trying to be so present on social media and like to stay positive. Right, I'm doing this.
Yeah.
And then at times I'm like, no, I've had enough. I just need to switch social media off. I don't really care anymore what you're up to. I don't want to know.
I don't want to see any more sourdough, okay?
And I think it's also, it's okay not to know. And it's okay maybe to have a little bit of a mental block and just accept it for what it is and just allow it to happen. And then if it keeps going on, and if it then starts to interfere maybe with other areas of your life, maybe then it's time to maybe seek some help or get some guidance. But if you just got a bit of a mental block, I think just let it happen. And I think that's what I've been trying to do, and not stress about it too much. So I think I've kind of stuck the last sort of like two and a half months or so. I've kind of focused a little bit more on my yoga practice.
I was going to say, it sounds like you're letting the yoga kind of energy
let
take
myself
over.
hone in on that. And then, because thankfully I've been lucky, most of my yoga clients have stayed with me through the lockdown, so they've kept me going. So I kind of
come on, yoga clients.
Yeah, I kind of allowed. I kind of allowed myself to sink more and draw myself into that. So then I can be the best guide that I can be for them as well. So not so worrying so much on my own little creative bubble that I want to have a little play with. So it'll come back. I trust that it will come back. And so just, I've enjoyed, and it's been nice because then I've enjoyed exploring maybe some new things in my yoga practice, both as a practitioner and as a teacher. So that's been quite nice to dedicate some time just for that. Because I think sometimes I try to do too much because I love learning, and I think sometimes I'm my own worst enemy, and I'll try and do too many things at once. So sometimes it's quite nice to admit, okay, I'm maybe struggling a little bit creatively, but just park it to one side for now. It'll come back if I need help. I know I can ask for support, and then just sit with this one channel for now, and then see how it goes.
Well, this is a perfect time to cut to a little bit of yoga with Mike.
Yay.
So we're going to have a little bit of breathing and a little bit of a sun salutation.
Hi, everyone. So what we're going to be doing now is exploring one of my favorite breathing techniques, or pranayama, from my yoga practice. It's called Nadi Shodhana in Sanskrit, or alternate nostril breath. It's a really beautiful practice to incorporate into your daily life, daily practice, or even just to help cool yourself and chill yourself down. We're going to be using our dominant hand. Traditionally, it's done by your right hand, but you can use your left hand if you would so prefer. So all you're going to do to begin with is just come to any comfortable seat for you. Myself, I like to sit in a half lotus, legs crossed, but if you would prefer to get your legs out in front, maybe sit on a cushion or a yoga block or something similar, just to prop up your pelvis so that you can sit up nice and tall. And don't be shy, get all the flesh out of your bum all the way, so you can really sit those sitting bones all the way down and have that nice tall vertical spine, imagining you've got a string, or the plumb line as we often call it in yoga and dance, that you can just sit up nice and tall as best you can. And again, you can also sit in a chair if being on the floor just doesn't work for you today. So let's begin. Just lightly close your eyes, or if that's not comfortable, just gaze diagonally down in front of you. So just place the backs of your hands onto your knees, and just take the first few moments just to become aware of your body, whatever that means for you. So I like to think of this as maybe my first or my final body scan before the end of a class, or at the start of a class, or even at any point of my day. So just try and tune out the rest of the world. Not worry yourself about anything that you've already done, or anything that's still yet to be done. So just take this short, little brief moment just for yourself. Maybe even ask yourself the question, how do I feel today? How do my hips feel? My hamstrings, my quads? How does the belly feel? The ribs, the chest, the spine, the entire body. And let's just carry on, take a nice, normal, deep breaths, without really worrying about anything just yet, breathing in and out through the nose. Maybe breathing in for a count of 4. And then exhaling, just the extra count, 5 or 6. Keep that going just for a couple more rounds, just to settle into your breath and into the moment. Let's do that just 3 more times. Inhale through your nose. And then just let it out. Twice more. Deep breath in through your nose. And let it out. One more time. Deep breath in. And let it go.
These are just tasters of the full videos that Mike has made, so you'll be able to find the links to those in the description if you want to follow through with the full breathing exercise and the full sun salutation.
So welcome everybody. So I thought it would be really fun to share some of my dance and yoga practice with all of you. Please don't worry if you've never done either dance or yoga. It's absolutely not necessary. We're just going to have some fun. So all that we're going to do is have a very short little, more of a yoga style warm-up, looking at the sun salutes from Ashtanga. And then I then got a really just a short little twisty phrase that mainly goes side to side. And then we'll have a little bit in the middle where you can just groove on your own for say 8 counts, 2 lots of 8, thinking of maybe just being as sinuous and as sneaky and as gooey as possible, and then we'll come back together and then we'll try it all again. If you go wrong, what's wrong? Who's to say what's right and what's wrong? We're just going to have some fun. So to begin with, let's just get the body ready. So all you're going to do, wherever you are in your space, just look at your hips and then look at your feet and just come to a place that we call parallel, and then just bring it a little bit tighter together with your big toes coming to touch with, say, a 1 to 2 inch gap between your heels, and then just looking at your knees, just have a little bend, just make sure that they don't collapse in or over roll out. If that doesn't feel comfy, just come back to this more open hip width parallel. So, some of you may be familiar with yoga, some of you may be not to worry. So we're going to start. Let's just bring one hand to your belly and one hand to your chest. We're going to take 3 lots of breath, in through the nose and out through the nose. Standing as tall as you can, nice proud chests. Squeeze your bottoms, squeeze your bellies in, and we're going to breathe in through the nose. And out through your nose. You can close your eyes, you can keep them open. Let's do one more breath all together. Squeezing the bums and the bellies in. And exhale. So we're going to do 2 rounds of sun salutation A. So on your first breath in, reach your arms all the way up to the sky, as high as you can go, and join your hands together. As you exhale, you're going to hinge forward from your hips. You can bend your knees, bring your lower ribs to your thighs. Hands flat into the floor, and you can keep your legs as bent as you need to, and relax your heads. On your inhale, lift your head, bring your hands to the tops of your thighs, and try and have a nice long flat back. So stick your bottom to the back of the room. If this happens...
Do you find there are any things in particular that kind of always boost your confidence or have a tendency to knock it a little bit and you steer clear of them?
I suppose pre-pandemic, being around like-minded people is a huge confidence boost, and I think it just creates that healthy environment that you're creating your own community. So certainly the older that I get, I tend to, obviously, there's going to be days where I'm like, oh God, I'm having a really bad day. But I tend to no longer worry so much about what anybody else thinks of me as a person, as a dancer. And I think that's that's such a lovely thing to have, particularly as a dancer. Because as a profession, you're constantly worrying about what you look like. Is this director going to like me? Is this choreographer going to like me? Are my legs high enough? Am I strong enough? Is my turnout 180 degrees? And I'm like, well, mine's not.
That was like a little dancer joke there.
And then I'm just like,
yeah, I get it.
No, it's never going to happen. And then just like you just find yourself at a point where it's like, I just don't really care at all anymore. So like I'm gonna do what makes me happy. I'm only gonna work with people that I'm inspired by, or I feel I could contribute something of value to any particular project. I no longer work for free. I will not do it anymore. That's a huge problem within the dance industry, especially for young artists. They will so many opportunities whether you are for free, and I'm just like, no.
Exposure don't pay the bills.
No. Exactly. Weirdly, like wearing certain clothes makes me feel more confident when I'm moving or going to class. There's like, there are certain socks I like to wear, or certain trousers I like to wear.
I did not think you were going to say socks. These are my confidence socks.
It's like I always remember, like even when I was auditioning, because I haven't been to an audition for a long time, because I'm quite lucky now. I get to choose what projects I work with, obviously, because I've created a community of friends that we like. Oh, I know, like my friend Kim will be good in that project, or I think, oh no, I know Mike will be good in that one. So we'll talk, and if we feel a project is around the corner with somebody that we maybe don't know, but that might be up our street, we just kind of, without sounding preachy, it does kind of make me feel special. I'm quite privileged. I get to work with so many different people from different backgrounds. I've been lucky enough to tour nationally, tour internationally, seeing different cultures. Obviously, of course, getting to see different theatres. And again, it just comes back to moving my body in a particular way, whether it's from my own choreographical ideas or to having something imprinted on me from a choreographer's point of view, and then trying to best to achieve their vision. And again, it comes back to just that feeling of being looked at on stage, moving with other people on the stage with you. It's just such a rewarding feeling, which I've still yet to find the appropriate words for it. It's just something you can only feel.
Yeah.
But again, privileged to use my body in such a unique way. And I think it also helps me move through life with a greater understanding and an empathy for people in general. And I kind of like, I always giggle to myself especially when I visit friends in London. I kind of like, well, why have people not got enough like spatial awareness? Like when people are crossing the road, so I'm just like, surely you should be able to brush past somebody without getting too close or or having a wide
especially now.
And it's just like, but it fascinates me when people, obviously, and I take it for granted, obviously being used to obviously being very tactile, and that's something at the moment I really miss within the pandemic, not being able to touch. It sounds wrong, but like, not being able to like touch other bodies.
Yeah,
that bodily connection with.
That's such a specific thing to miss.
But yeah, just like obviously because it's obviously, and it's our job, it's our work, and so it comes from a really different place compared to like the tactile touch I have with my partner, as an example. But I certainly take that for granted, and then it makes me really thankful of this greater awareness I have compared to somebody who's completely disassociated with their body.
It's just like a machine,
just
almost.
like a machine.
Yeah.
And then I think I see it and then I question, is that okay? Why aren't they as aware as me, even though they don't have a dance background or another physical practice background? And then it makes me feel sad. It makes me feel sad in a way, but at the same time, that's their choice, and they don't know any different. I don't know any different because this is my journey. That's their journey. But then when I think about myself, it kind of makes me feel just special, just a little bit special, and that this is something that's only mine. Yeah. And then I can share it with people who are like me. Yeah. And then it's nice to then share that with people who are completely different. So, yeah.
You want everyone to feel special, basically.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a lot of people with dance, maybe more so than a lot of other art forms. They're just like, oh no, can't dance. I think it's a big thing like that I have as well. Like I said, I've been trying to learn to dance, but it's that fear of looking stupid.
Yeah.
Like, how do you, obviously you've done a lot of training to know, and you don't look stupid anymore, but for people who are kind of starting out, how do you get over the feeling like you look stupid?
Well, I would say sometimes I do look stupid, but depending on the context.
Yeah.
Because as I said, I love teaching non-dancers, particularly when they're young students, if they're more from an acting background, if they're on a performing arts course, because they don't have any preconceived ideas of any particular technique. So I think sometimes, not always, but sometimes they're just a little bit more playful and open to new ideas. Whereas somebody who's only comes from a classical background or only comes from a much more urban background, trying new things, there's a barrier sometimes that you have to try and push against. And obviously myself, I started dance very, very late. So I'm very open and honest, and I'm like, well, if I can do it, then anybody can do it. And I wholeheartedly believe that everybody can dance, just to some extent. Or I should say, again, humans are designed to move. All humans have the capability of moving. It's just that as a working dancer, I've developed a physical language in a particular style, or has a particular structure. But everybody can physically move and explore circular patterns or spirals or being rooted down somewhere. Because I say to myself, because I would love to be able to sing, and I'm like, but I just don't know how. So how do you use your voice? But I think like everybody can sing. It's just not everybody can maybe sing in tune or sing in the right, or know how to sing in the right key, or to sing in a particular style. But everybody has the power to use their voice.
Everyone's got the potential to be a singer.
That's a good word. Yeah, everybody has that potential and spark to use their body, and then if they so choose to, they can. All they need to do then is just to manifest it in a particular way, whether that be in a really structured form, or if they just completely on a much more somatic, holistic, improvisational way. It's just allowing yourself to be completely free and open with your body. And I think we still, as artists, I think we're always going to have that aspect where we will always get people saying, "Oh, that dancer's too thin, that dancer's too fat," or There's and obviously in the last couple of years, there's been the question of why are there still not enough persons of colour dancing, particularly in, say, ballet, for example, which it's getting a lot better. And then you also get the stereotype of why are all male dancers gay, which is obviously not the case. Or do all male dancers have to be super strong, super athletic, super acrobatic? Do all of the girls have to be petite? So all the old stereotypes are slowly diminishing, and we're opening ourselves up to a much more broader, holistic bodily awareness and experience, and just allowing everybody to feel comfortable moving, just moving their body and exploring and coming back to that playfulness and curiosity. And
in the same way that just making a noise with your voice is singing, and like being Whitney Houston is singing, it's the same with dance. You can
and sometimes it's great to actually be silly on purpose. I remember vividly one piece I did in university. I had to eat a whole carcass of chicken on stage and then grease it all over me, and then like pretend to walk like a gorilla, and then suddenly we actually put on some sort of bear costume, I think it was. But then it's just so nice sometimes to be completely silly. Like I did with Kitchen Sink. Actually, I did the Green Man Festival 2 years ago.
Oh yeah,
getting to dress up in a really camp, brightly coloured outfits. I got to be like, I was living kind of like my RuPaul fantasy. It's like, yes, I'm camp. I love it. I've got the smallest shorts I can get away with legally. And then suddenly changing into an alien.
Is there a legal limit on shorts? Is there?
There probably is. But then like suddenly changing into an alien. And then a couple of weeks before that, I was in a much more structured piece using, I suppose, a bit more of a contemporary vibe, more clean lines. So it's nice when you obviously get to a certain level and you learn different choreographical structures, physical techniques, characterization. It's fun then getting to explore completely different facets of the human imagination and creativity. So it's nice. I love being silly.
So maybe just be stupid on purpose.
Yeah, sometimes it's nice to be stupid on purpose.
Yep. Very nice. So for people who've been watching this, maybe they've danced before, maybe they haven't, maybe people just want to be able to just start their dancing journey.
Yeah.
What advice do you have for those people?
Just do it.
Just
do it. Honestly. And as easy as that is, it's obviously for me to say. Because obviously there's been times when I've been maybe too nervous to try something. Just ask. Obviously at the moment, obviously it's a little bit different because obviously we're still in a pandemic and we can't physically get to a class. But then at the same time, I found it in both dance classes and more so yoga, there's so much available online, be it pre-recorded on YouTube or there's lots of various dance-specific platforms that people can go on to learn more urban routines to more popular commercial music. Or if you go to English National Ballet, they've got their own streaming system, so you can do ballet classes, contemporary classes, a bit more creative fun for kids. Even something as more, I don't like the term, but more exercise to music based, I suppose, but like Zumba, the way it's evolved certainly in the West compared to its original origins. But even something like a Zumba class or like ballroom, Latin, get your partner to go with you. Just try it. And if it's for you, great. If it's not, don't shun yourself down. It's like, if it's not for you, you'll feel if it's not right. Yeah. But again, it comes back to me. I started really, really late. Lots of my family at the time, excluding my parents and my grandparents, were very much, well, what on earth are you doing? How can you make this a career? Because I'm the only artistic one in the family. And it's like, you just have to trust yourself, surround yourself with the right type of people that are curious, open, will explore with you maybe, and just allow yourself to experience whatever happens and just go for it.
Move your body.
Exactly. And even if it only becomes a hobby, keep it as a hobby. It's fun. And if it eventually becomes a career pathway, go for it as best you can. Just keep yourself as healthy as possible. Research, see as much dance as you can, explore so many different styles. Just fully immerse yourself in as much of it as you can. But like, keep healthy, eat a good healthy diet, hydrate, look after yourself. and just be open to any curiosity in any situation that presents itself. And as long as you're safe and you're happy, just go for it.
And if you want to find a community of people to share things with, talk about dance, post videos, maybe share links and resources and stuff, there is a My Creative Brain Facebook group. So look out for that. And also, the lovely Mike is going to be available on a Zoom call. Details in the description. So that's going to be, I guess, if you might be able to film yourself and get some feedback on it from Mike, ask him some questions, that sort of thing. So I'm looking forward to that. Thank you so much for joining us, Mike.
Thank you very much for having me.
Can't wait to see you dancing somewhere soon.
Thank you very much.
So Mike is going to do a little activity now that you can follow along with. We're going to mirror the video so you can just do the moves exactly as if Mike is in a mirror. Is there anything you want to say about this before we go into it, Mike?
Just wherever you are, obviously because we're still a little bit more restricted, just make sure that you have comfortable space around you. It's a running joke in my house. I've got quite low ceilings, so I've smashed my lights several times when I've been teaching online. So just make sure that you're aware of your space. Just maybe push the sofa out the way or the TV. Ideally, I'd go bare feet or wear trainers, depending on what flooring you have, unless you are a bit more experienced and you're happy to wear socks or ballet shoes or jazz shoes or whatever kind of dance appropriate footwear. But otherwise, trainers, fine. Just get some nice comfy clothes. Don't mind being scruffy. So if you sweat a little bit, great. So just put something and then you're comfortable moving in. Have a drink of water handy. Of course, you can stop. You can stop, press play, go back, rewind it as much as you need to.
I need to do that so much on dance videos.
I do as well sometimes. I'm like, especially if I'm learning choreography, I'm like, what leg is actually? Because obviously sometimes if you're learning something, the natural instinct is to mirror it, but then sometimes if you know you need to perform it, you have to learn it the proper way. So you're always like, which arm am I mirroring? Am I not?
Which way up am I?
But like, yes. So if you go the opposite way, you go the opposite way. Just make sure you do both sides. But don't stress about it. Have some fun. Whack some tunes on, and then maybe try the same exercise to a different song. See what it does. It might bring something up new, and then feel free just to improvise. Have a jam. Have fun.
Amazing. Let's do it.
So hi everyone, so thank you for joining me. So today I'm going to be guiding you through just a really nice little short blast of an exercise that I often use in lots of my technique classes, be they professional or my regular youth members. And anybody at home, you are more than welcome to try. Maybe send your responses on social media, film yourselves, that'd be great. So all you need is just enough space around you, and please feel free to modify anything that you need to, depending on your limb length or wherever you are in your space. So all that we're going to do, just come to a nice, calm, neutral place. I'm standing in parallel, so directly beneath my hips. That will be slightly different for everybody, depending on the width of your pelvis. And I just want you to have what we call a Demi Plie, which is just simply bending your knees. So just nice and soft, bend your knees, and just make sure they go directly over your toes, rather than collapsing in or over, rolling out. Things to note as well. Here we don't want any Beyonce bottoms, where you anteriorly tip your pelvis forward, creating that arch of the spine. And then we don't want to tuck under too much, where that pelvis tucks all the way under and then the pelvis lifts up. We want a neutral pelvis as best as possible. So we have that natural curve, but we don't want to over accentuate it. So standing as nice and tall as you can. Pull your ribs in. That's a note I always give myself because I like to let them flare out a little bit because I've got quite a big arch. So I've got to pull that in. So just be aware of it, but still be nice and proud in your chest and have your gaze, your eyes just out in front. You don't want to look down at the floor. Be proud. Nice and simple. Just imagine for all of this phrase, you've got air underneath your armpits. So you've got this nice floating, almost kind of snaky quality going all the way through, and just a nice soft base in your pelvis and in your knees. So we've got this nice, slow, gentle bounce kind of going all the way through. So I'm going to twist my arms towards my left-hand side. Try as best you can to keep your pelvis neutral, but if it does twist slightly, that's okay. But try if you can, that's a test. See if you can keep it neutral, and then it's just the torso that's going to twist. Squeeze your inner thighs together. Here we go. So I'm going to twist to my left. You can look behind you if you want to, or just to the side. And then I'm going to twist it out. And again, imagine there's air underneath these armpits. You just go and twist, 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 twist. And we're going to do 4. We'll start to the left. So we're going to go twist left, twist right, and left, and right. We're going to do a couple more, but step out on that left leg into a lunge. And you're going to throw your arms around, coming into a nice big lunge. You can be up a little bit higher, or if you're feeling brave, feeling good, get down in these legs. Just make sure that you squeeze that bum to protect your base. So you come down to the left. Again, throw these arms and wrap. Make yourself as tight as you can. We're going to go again. Left and right. I'm going to add in a 5th one. And then keeping your arms out, almost like an aeroplane, or any dancers out there, kind of like a flat parallel second. And then you're just going to pivot on your right foot, skim that left leg. It can come slightly off the floor, or if you're feeling more excited, maybe a little bit higher, or even just trace the foot as if you're drawing in the sand. It can skim the floor. We do 1 turn to then wrap, as I fall over, wrap that right side there. Let's just do that second part again. So you're going to finish twisting on the right. We're then going to throw to the left, left and right, and left and right. Extra one. Little turn, and drop to that right side. Now, the fun bit. Let's see how it goes. So think of your left ear to your shoulder, and then bring that left hand down towards this left foot. You're going to try and scoop something up over the top, and then you're going to reach up to the right hand side, and then your right arm is just simply going to come up and meet, and then you're going to hug something in. Elbows come into your belly. You bend your right leg, and then your hands are going to find the floor. And for the fun bit, again, this just depends on your space. Just have a little go. Option 1, I call these tornadoes. You're going to bring your hands to the floor. Hand, foot, hand, hand, come up. And then just simply lead with your right hand. All the way around, back to the beginning. Option 2, you just speed up your tornado. So it's a little bit faster. Maybe turns into a little jump. Maybe do a little, I call them baby cartwheels or baby handstands. Try and bring your right leg to just jump on the left. If you have space, if you want to try this outside, maybe you're more than welcome. Maybe you do a cartwheel. Just be careful of your legs. If I've got long legs like myself, just be a little bit careful, but have a little play with it. Dancer's choice, and then just finish opening that right side, and then you're going to twist to the right, and then we're going to add just once to the left, and then back to neutral, and then we'll do the whole thing on the other side. Let's go from the top. So, we've got twist left, and right, and left, and right, little bit bigger, and left, and right, extra 1, 2, down we go. You, all the way up, right arm comes up and joins. Take your option, doesn't matter which one it is. Come back out with your right hand, twist, twist, and recover. That's it. And then we just try it on the second side. Let's have a quick little mark through. This is a test for me. So let's go. Right, and left, and right, and left. Little bit bigger, 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 bigger. Extra 1. We turn this time into the right leg that skims. Go back down into that left leg. Right ear to your shoulder. Release the right arm. You may be picking something up. It comes over the top. My left hand comes to join. Elbows. Pull them into your belly. Take your option. Come all the way back round. Twist left. Twist right. And just recover. And then just for 8 counts, I just want you to have a little groove. On your own, on the spot. Leading with your hands. Imagine your hands like how we've got this air underneath all of that shoulder girdle, all underneath the arms. Now, turn that into your hands, almost as if they were snakes, or just something that could swim through the air or carve something around the space that you have. So maybe 8 counts or maximum 16 counts, so 2 lots of 8. Just have a little play. Doesn't matter what you look like. It could be, I'm just going to swim my arms. Doesn't really matter what they do. 7 and 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then we're going to go again. So, we're going to do the phrase on the left, on the right. Let's do 2 lots of 8. Little snaky groove. Doesn't matter what it is. Doesn't really matter whatsoever. Just get these arms kind of, if your legs get involved, they get involved. But the arms, just let them find some, almost like circles or sinuous kind of curves around your body. It can be more on the spot if you want to, or if you're feeling adventurous. Just see where it takes you. It doesn't really matter what you look like. We're just going to have some fun. Sound good? Let's do the whole thing all together. So let's stand nice and tall. I'll give you a count in. Let's go. 5 and 6 and 7 to the left. Go left and right and left and right. Nice and big. To the left and right. Extra 1. We turn and drop. The yoke comes up. I pull my shoulders in and round and turn and right and left. Recover, right side, here we go. Right and left. Small, small. Out go right, left, right, left. Extra 1. Oh no, I've done it wrong. Have I done it wrong? Yes, I have. Let's go again. Let's do the whole, even I do things wrong. Let's go again. Let's just do the right side. And right, left, right, left, right, and left, and right, and left. Extra 1. And now let's go on the right. Here we go. And a 6 and a 7. Here we go. Twist right, and left, and right, and right. Nice and big. Get the arms nice and wide. We do the extra 1. We turn, soften down. Right here, arm left arm, just pull the elbows in. Take your option, doesn't matter what it is. All the way around, twist left, twist right. Recover, 2 lots of 8 groove. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. Nice slow 8's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. Pause. Well done. Have a go. Maybe try it again. Go on the left, go on the right. Have a little groove in the middle. Or maybe groove for as long as you need. Maybe groove at the start, groove at the end, groove in the middle. Let me know. Have a go.
Join us next week when I will be talking to the wonderful singer and artist Alicia Scott.